Hey, Year 8. So this is Lesson 2, based on the poem 2Scavengers in a Truck. I'm here to talk to you today, and I've got my little teaching assistant here as well. Won't leave me alone today. Okay, so 2Scavengers in a Truck. We read it through last time. We talked about positive and negative words. So, can you first of all write me a little summary of the poem? What happens in it? What's it about? Where does it happen? And then if you can remember any of those positive or negative words, you can write those down as well. So please pause the video and do that now. Awesome. Right, so the poem is about a posh Mercedes and a scruffy bin lorry meeting at a set of traffic lights in San Francisco. And it's just a visual comparison of the rich posh people with the dirty bin men people. Okay? And I can probably come out of that and show you the positive and negative words from last lesson, which were there. Okay, so if you've got any of those and remembered them, that's amazing too. Just before we move on, I wanted to say to you that it is really good to see that so many of you are acing the quizzes at 100% every day. I'm really, really pleased with the amount of you that are working. It's a really good thing. I appreciate how hard it can be in a lockdown situation, and how, you're just, like me, just trapped in your house doing random bits of work to yourself. I'm really, really pleased. That's really good, and you're doing really, really well. We're not, as teachers, asking for work to be sent, because we know that some students and families struggle with tech, and it was some of the feedback we got from lockdown 1 was that it was tricky to do. However, if you've done a piece of work that you're really, really pleased with and you want me to see it, and you know how to do that, then you can. So you could send that to me as an email, you could take a picture of it and upload it to show my homework. So if you know how to do those things and you'd like to show me your work, feel free. But we're not asking you to do it because we don't want to make everything stressful. Okay, so we've got some questions here on the board. So, first of all, how does the writer present the two scavengers and the two beautiful people? We've already said, haven't we? Scavengers are scruffy, beautiful people are beautiful. Who do you think the reader will feel sympathy for, and why? That's an interesting one. I know whose side I'm on when I look at the judgy poem. I'm not sure what you would think so. And what do you think the reader will find interesting, and why? Okay, and can you say that the writer's trying to make a comment about society? Is he saying something to criticise either group of people? That's up to you. So I want you to pause the video after I finish this sentence and have a go at writing on this slide or around these questions on paper. You could even number them in your head so you know what you're writing. Have a go at thinking about these things, and you can always have a look back at the poem. So I'm just going to put that up from the other PowerPoint so you can see it again. So answer those questions based on the poem. Pause the video now. I'm going to put you back on those questions so you can see them. And I'll give you a minute or so to do that. Okay, so hopefully you came up with some good ideas there. But I've got an annotated version of this here to show you. So he describes them as gargoyles, which are the stone monsters that you get on the top of buildings. They're very ugly. They're meant to ward off evil spirits on a building, but obviously calling a person an ugly statue is not great. It also calls them grungy. Again, that suggests they're kind of dirty, doesn't it? Whereas the two beautiful people are referred to as elegant. So who does the reader feel sympathy for? Well, for me, it's the garbage men who are grungy. They're poor, they don't get a lot of money, they're tired because they've been working up early and through the night. We're just assuming things about them. Who do you think the reader will find more interesting? Possibly the beautiful people, explaining their character and appearance. Maybe it's the car that they'll be interested in. Okay. In English, don't forget, it's okay to have any opinion you like as long as you can back it up with quotations from the poem. So that's up to you to think about. The challenge question there at the bottom then, the writer's saying society isn't equal and it's not fair, and there are poor people and rich people who are divided. Okay? So, over the last few lessons, we've been practicing you doing peak paragraphs, which we've been doing for longer than that, because you were also writing them about Romeo and Juliet before we entered lockdown. So, you should be becoming quite familiar and confident with peak paragraphs, depending on which of my groups that's more or less true. So what I want for you to do is have a go at this for yourself today. So I've given you lots of sentence starters to remember what to do. So you're writing first of all about the scavengers, so the bin men. Your point would be the writer presents the scavengers as, and you've got some ideas about how he presents them there at the top. So you would need to finish off that first sentence. So he describes them as what? Happy, clean, rich, powerful? You tell me. And then remember, for the EV, the first E, that's evidence. So that means it's got to be words from the poem. Now, obviously, I appreciate you don't necessarily have a copy of that in front of you, but I will make sure... You're right there, Ghost. What are you doing? I will make sure that at the end of this video, when I've finished talking, I will then go back to the other PowerPoint with the poem on it, so that you can freeze frame there as well, and then move backwards and forwards to the different bits that you want to have on the screen. So, if you're saying that the scavengers are presented as dirty, you then need to find a quote that tells you they're dirty. If you're saying ugly, you need to find a quote that tells you they're ugly. Okay, so it's up to you to find something that backs up what you've said in your point. And then your second E, the EX, is to explain it. So you've got two different sentence starters there, or you could do one completely of your own, but you're explaining how you know that the word you've used in your evidence blank there proves the thing you've said in your point. So you're bringing those two things together. So this tells me that they are... So if you were going to say they were ugly and they're described as gargoyles, you could then say, this tells me that they're ugly because gargoyles are known for being ugly and they're meant to guard from evil spirits. They're deliberately created to be ugly and strange looking. Okay? Or you could go with, Ghost, I can't play with you now, stop biting me. I can't. I'm teaching. Look. See? Say hi to the boys and girls. Stop biting me. So instead you could go with, this is effective because it makes the reader think something or picture something. Okay, so it might be because it's effective because it makes the reader picture the gargoyles. Okay, and then you pick one word. If your quote's been more than one word, then you pick one for keyword. If your quote is just one word to start with, then you don't need to do keyword at all. Okay, so have a go at working through that using those sentence starters to help you, and then the instruction at the bottom just says write a peek about the people in the Mercedes. So you can use the same sentence starters to help you, and you'll just change the bit that you put in the blanks, won't you? The only thing you'd need to do for your point is take out the word scavengers and put rich people in the Mercedes. Okay? I hope that makes sense, but if I keep telling you exactly what to write and then showing it to you every lesson, then you never actually have to use your own brain, do you? So I'm trying to help you improve your writing to have a go by yourself. But don't forget, you can always look back at previous lessons as well to get some help with that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch it over to the other poem. You're aiming, to the other PowerPoint that's got the poem on, and you're aiming to do 2 peak paragraphs, one about the scavenger bin men and one about the rich people in the Mercedes, using those sentence starters. So you can forward wind, backward wind, pause, wherever you need it to be. Okay? I'll see you next lesson. Take care.